Condos have had the biggest price drop this summer. Is rate cuts going to help us? Hi everyone, Ian here. Welcome back from the summer vacations. Hope you all had a great one. This past summer has been tough for GTA real estate market, and we want to continue our conversation from last month using data analytics to help you understand what's going on, and hopefully we can see what's going to happen in the near future. So if you look at the graph on the screen, this is basically the past 2 years of average price for the entire GTA market. The red line is the 2023, and the green line is this year, 2024. And you can see we have data up to August. And the average price in August is 1,074,000, right? So just a little over a million. And you can see that this is lower than last year at the same time, right? The red line is last year. Last year we had 1,000,008. Now we have 1,000,007. But the trend is generally the same. We have had a tough summer in both years. Why? Last year, remember in June, we had a surprise rate hike last year. And that has thrown everybody off guard, and everybody was surprised at why did the rate go up again, because we were thinking the rate hikes were over last year. But because US kept raising rates after Canada stopped at the beginning of last year, so there was a difference was getting bigger between US and Canada rates, so Canada had to catch up twice. So last summer was tough. And the remainder of the second half of last year was pretty tough market, right? Remember last September, October, those were really tough markets. And this year, first half of the year, we had a few more optimism in the market, just like last year, right? The beginning, January, February, March, April, generally people were more optimistic. And ever since the first rate cut in June this year, people all of a sudden become more pessimistic. And a lot of it is because there's more and more sellers coming out into the market and putting their property for sale. But buyers are still about the same. So the ratio between sellers and buyers are very off balance for the past 3 months. And that's why the market has been ever slower after rate cut started, which is kind of anti-intuitive. And we have seen in the previous video, this is not everywhere in Canada. It's more of a Toronto problem. We have a lot of other places in Canada that have a better market after the rate cut, but Toronto is an exception. Why? Too expensive. Honestly, Toronto real estate is way too expensive for most people, and buyers are not catching up. So you can see on this graph, this is basically sales volume, right? So after beginning of the year, you can see January, February, up until April and May, there were buyers. Buyers were coming out. The green line, you can see there's buyers who are trying to get in the market, buy their home before the rate cut, because these are the buyers who expected price may go up after rate cuts, so they wanted to get in the market early. But after the rate cuts started, they see that, oh, the bidding war didn't start, and there's no rush. And by waiting longer, they can actually get a better rate. For example, if you go to the bank today, you may get like 4.8% or 4.9% for like a 3-year fixed. But if you go to the bank like 2 months ago, you would have got like 5.3, 5.5, right? So these buyers actually realize, hey, by waiting longer, I can get a better rate and the price is not going anywhere. So why buy now? Why not wait longer? So that's why you see like the buyers have been decreasing for the past 3 months. So a bit less buyers, and compared to last year is even a bit less than last year. But if you look at the sellers, there is more seller this year than last year, for sure. By far, you can see the green line is higher than the red line. That means more sellers compared to last year are in a rush to put their properties on the market. And the only good news, the only piece of good news I've seen in August data is this point. You can see August, we've had similar number of sellers as last year, 12,000, right? All the months before, you can see for the rest of the previous half of this year, we've had more sellers. Only August we sort of dropped. Okay, so that's one piece of good news. Hopefully, sellers are done with their frenzy of rushing to put their properties on the market. And going forward, sellers will be more hopeful with more rate cuts coming. They're gonna hold back from putting their properties on the market too quickly. And the less sellers there is, the lesser inventory there will be. And since buyers are still there, buyers are still buying, not a lot, but they're still buyers. if we have less sellers, then generally the market should improve as we absorb more inventories. Because right now, there's still a very high level of active listings, which is the inventory of real estate. You can see this graph. This is the active listings, right? You can see in July, we reached the peak, 23,800. Okay, that's like highest ever in the history of GTA real estate market, right? And if you see, like, this is not just the highest comparing to last 2 years. If I look at the past like 9 years, you can see, check this out. You can see this inventory level is highest amongst all the other years, right? And not just August. It's not just the highest August. It's highest ever in all months, right? We've never seen this many properties on the market before. That's why it's hard for us to predict what's going to happen, right? Because if you ask me what's going to happen, like say last year at this time, I can at least refer to another year that had a similar level of inventory to say, okay, look at that year. That was this many active listings and what happened later. But now there's no reference point. We've never seen this many inventories. So that's why it's hard to predict. But the general direction is that if we have seen August as the first month, this inventory level dropped from 23,800 to 22,600, right? So it's a good August inventory level dropped a bit. A lot of it is also condos has been leased, right? There's a lot of condos who are for sale and for lease at the same time. A lot of them has been taken off the market in the summer, which helps, right? So now active listings starting to drop, which is important because even visually, when you go to buy a property in a neighborhood or in a condo building, when you see there's like 10 listings versus when you see there's 7 listings, as a buyer, your sense of urgency is different. And buyers will start actioning when they see, oh my God, there's only 3 active listings. I better buy it before those are gone, right? But if you see there's like 12 listings, you're going to be like, okay, let's take our time. Check out this building, check out other buildings. They're all going to be there next week or next month. No rush to buy them soon, right? So number of active listings is very important in terms of how it affects buyers' mentality. And if you look at the months of inventory, we're still pretty high. Like you can see, we're at 4.6, right? This is still higher than last year. So even when you remember what happened the second half of last year, we had a very high months of inventory, right? Like there was slow market. But now at 4.6, we're even slower than the second half of last year. So that gives you a sense of how slow we are right now. And so far, I have not seen September being much better, even though in the past week, I gotta admit, I have been able to successfully sell a couple of my listings, which were not selling before, right? But also each listing had their own story. It cannot represent the entire market, okay? Other listings, there are many still stale and many still not getting too much tractions. But I do think, if you ask me, like right now, September 10th versus like say August 10th, we are a bit more active, okay? But also, I mean, generally, the fall should be more active than the summer. So there is a bit of seasonality impact in there as well. So just keep that in mind, right? It may not be the rate cuts. It may just be the seasonalities helping. But generally, rate cuts should help. But how much does it need to cut to help the market? That's another video. We'll do a calculation for you. But for now, just kind of get an idea of what's going on in the market. And the days on market is the slowest ever as well. You can see right now, how long does it take to sell a property? Let's pull this graph up. You can see right now it takes 28 days on average to sell a property in the GTA. And this is the highest August ever. Okay, you can see all the past before is not this high, right? Right now, this green bar, this green line is the highest in the history of August, right? So it's slowest to sell a property. So if your property is sitting on the market for a while, don't freak out, right? Like it's so normal because on average, it's taking the longest to sell properties. The condo market, we have discussed at the beginning of this video that it has more problem, right, than the freehold market. If you look at the screen, this is basically the past, like say 7 or 8 years, actually past 6 years of average price. On average, condo price has dropped below 2021 level, okay? It's still higher on average than 2020 and 2019, which is these two graphs at the bottom. But the top 4 years, right, the recent 4 years, our current price has dropped beyond 2021 level, okay? That's the entire GTA market. If you look at downtown condos, you will see that it has dropped even further than what we have seen on the general GTA market. So on this screen, you can see this green line at the bottom. This is actually the downtown condo average price. You can see the drop is very significant. Okay, and we don't see this kind of drops during other years' summer, right? So it's not seasonality. It actually there's a lot of transactions that happened that we saw in real life example lower than what we thought it was going to sell. And on average, downtown price has dropped even below 2019 level, right? Right now it's 711,000. 2019 on average price downtown is 715,000. So that's a big change, right? Of course, not every building is the same, right? Each building has a different trend, but just on aggregate, you can see condos are doing worse than freehold, and downtown condos are doing worse than average condos in GTA. So that means in the 905 areas like the Markham or Mississauga, Richmond Hill, those condos may be doing better, right, comparing to Toronto downtown condos. So if you have listings in downtown or you're trying to buy a property in downtown, you should know this market trend so that when you're doing your market analysis or comparable analysis, not only you need to compare with the prices that are happening in the recent months, you should also look back, right, to see in the same building what was the price like in the past few years, right, in the past 5 years, I would say. Just make sure on the high level the price that you're buying or selling makes sense when comparing to recent years of history, because there has been a lot of changes on downtown condo prices, and you want to make sure you're benchmarking on a holistic level, right? So that hopefully this helps you with understanding what's going on in the GTA market. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next time.